if you come to Russia, you just, go to the middle of Moscow or St. Petersburg, you stand and look around, most likely you will find everything normal, more or less normal. Stores open, people rushing back and forth, cars drive by, restaurants open with some people in them dining. If you wait until dusk, you will see that Moscow is well lit up, just as it was before. St. Petersburg is beautiful, just as it was before. Moreover, if you turn on Russian TV and you tune in to some Russian bloggers, you will find a picture that is fairly bright. You will hear many good news about the economy of Russia. You will find good forecasts, and you will find pride. Many people say something like, you see, all those naysayers, the traitors, they've been saying all along that Russia is going to fall apart economically. And look around, it's doing fantastic. And the future is very bright. Or is it? Is it really? Howdy. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia. I am streaming live from Uzbekistan with Russia inside me, giving you the latest updates about my country, informing you of what's giving you my opinions on things. And I'm speaking of a very complicated issue, Russian economy, and how it has started collapsing and why it has started collapsing. Very complicated, very, very sophisticated thing to talk about. I will try. Well, at first, I will start by basically giving you a very simplified economics lesson. I will tell you what economy is all about. What is economy? What is economy in general? Let's start with that. I will try to be I'll try to use as simple words as possible. I am an economist by trade, so, I kind of dust off knowledge that I received in 2 colleges, and I will try to deliver it to you. Economy of a country usually represents the sum of economic activities of a country. In other words, economy is a system by which people make or get their living. All economies perform some basic activities, and all these activities can be grouped into 3 large groups. Again, we're doing very basic, I'm doing very basic explanation right now. I'm not getting deep into the economic science. Okay, so in a nutshell, the 3 groups are production, consumption, and investments. And of course, there are many more things, such as sectors of the economy, the relationship between the groups and the sectors and so forth, but that's not the point. The point is 3 major groups, and I'm gonna talk about them a little bit, and then later I will give you the scoop on what is happening in each group in Russia right now. So, production, consumption, and investments, or capital formation, some economists say it. They're absolutely vital groups, the very basic vital groups for economy. And in economic lingo, they're called the vital processes. So, what is production? Production is activity which produces material goods and services or increases value of commodities, the goods and services already produced. In simple language, production is any activity that results in create added value. Production is not necessarily something material. Not only physical goods qualify as creation of physical goods qualify as production. Also services. Creation of services qualifies as production. Therefore, production is not just the steel mill workers creating steel, but it's all people who are involved in economic activities in a country. Office clerks, doctors, lawyers, teachers, transporters, consultants, anyone who creates products or services, who creates value. The second group is consumption. Consumption is the process of using up of goods and services for direct satisfaction of individual or collective human wants. In simple words, all purchases of households, except for the houses, they qualify into different categories, are called, all purchases of the households are called consumption, household consumption. Anything, really anything. You furnish your house, you furnish your office, you buy things, you buy food, you go to the movies, you buy a car, you drive a car, you pump gas, you go to a mechanic, you fly for vacation. It's all consumption, okay? And the third group is called capital investments or capital formation. Basically, it is the net addition to the capital stock of any economy during a given period. Okay, in simple words, it's the excess of production over consumption, or it's part of current production that is set aside for use in future production. Okay, so again, production, consumption, capital investments. I emphasize economy is much more than that, but this is very, very simple, basic stuff. It's very simple to understand. Okay. Again, there are also sectors of the economy, primary, secondary, tertiary, and so forth. And rules, laws that economies run, organized by, and so forth. But we suppose we're talking about free economy, not communism, not socialism, but capitalism and free economy, defined by Adam Smith. Well, usually economy is balanced. That's how free markets work. Everything, all these three groups, they balance. For example, if one of the groups takes a hit, then two other groups, they balance that hit, so to speak. Okay, there are different tools. There is market free hand, invisible hand, so to speak, or it could be help by the government. For example, very good example, direct intervention. For example, capital investments and production took a huge hit during COVID era recently, and the government did direct intervention into the consumption. It basically started giving people money so they consume more, therefore they drive production up, and then they influence capital investments. That's one of the tools. Another tool, for example, is to regulate capital investment by lowering taxes. So more money is spent and given into the creation of production, therefore drives consumption and so forth, But that's not what we're talking about right now. Basically, you have the basic understanding how again, it's usually balanced. When there's disbalance, it's an alarm. Okay, everyone starts crying. Well, there's a crisis, and then the wheels started turning, so to speak, and things started happening. But another thing, so you need to understand is, usually changes in economies are not rapid; they're slow. Okay, and it takes months, sometimes years, for the economy to go from growth to stagnation. Inflation to go up and down. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? It happens slowly over time. When something happens overnight, that's a huge crisis. That's a crash, and they're very, very rare. They happen, but they're very rare. Now, enough about the economic theory, okay? I hope I haven't bored you. Let's get to the details. Let's get to the Russian economy. There are two things you need to know before I start going into the groups of Russian economy. There are two things you need to know. The first is actually positive thing for Russian economy. It has managed to avoid a crash. When I saw what started happening in February and what I saw politically, Russia invaded Ukraine, started killing Ukrainians, and huge political crisis that resulted into the economic sanctions, and companies started cutting their economic activities in Russia, pulling out of Russia. I thought a crash was coming fast. I thought that was very, very unusual circumstances in the economy. And it's not just the economy, it's politics, geopolitics, messing up the economy in a worst possible way, okay? So when I forecasted the crash, we would start seeing it in middle of summer of 2022. But Russia has actually managed to avoid the crash. And I think that the reason behind that is very smart executed policies of the Russia Central Bank. It has applied many tools to the Russian economy to actually prevent the crash, okay? That's thing number one you need to know. Thing number two is the crash is imminent because Russia's central bank cannot hold Russian economy together forever or for a long time. It did an initial intervention that actually was really good, okay, and it worked well. But then if Russian government stopped this conflict, if Russian government would de-escalate the situation and would negotiate peace and would come to agreements and terms with Ukraine and with the rest of the world, it would show the world that Russia is normal again, okay, and it can be dealt with economically. Then economy would start picking up somehow. Then would not be a collapse. But what happened instead, Russian government started escalating more and more. Therefore, pressure onto the economy has been increasing for the past 8 months. And you know what? Russian economy can hold. It's not that strong, okay? And it has started collapsing. We're actually seeing it right now. Now, I'm going to give you, instead of just saying, it's collapsing, it's really bad, I'm going to give you the numbers, the numbers about the groups of the economy, the vital processes. I'm gonna tell you a little bit different from what the bloggers and Russian TV tells you, but you choose who you trust. I suggest you trust the numbers. Facts and figures, and that's the best resource. So production. What have we seen in the production group in the past almost 9 months? Yeah, actually 9 months. It's been 9 months. No, I'm sorry, 8 months. So sharp decline in production. Based on two things. First thing is, very quickly, many companies, foreign companies, left Russia. A lot of them had production facilities here in Russia, and they simply first stopped producing, stopped selling, and then they just closed the companies. Some closed and some forfeited. They basically sold their production facilities for, usually it's something equivalent of a handful of peanuts. There are so many examples. The biggest ones are Siemens, huge production facilities in Russia. Second is GE. Third is Renault, forfeited 3.5 billion of euros of investments, a huge production facility, a car plant. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Boeing, you name it. Huge companies left Russia. And I have a feeling they left either for good, forever, or they left for a very, very long time. And I don't think most of us will see them coming back in their lifetimes. Huge blow to Russian production sector, production group of the economy. So far, there are about 2,500 companies, large and small production companies, have left Russia. Most of them are foreign, but some of them actually Russian. They relocated to different countries because due to different reasons. Political, economical, instability in Russian economy. That's 2 to 6 million jobs lost. Okay. So that's foreign companies. The second reason is the sanctions. Russian companies that produce, they simply cannot sell because the buyers are under sanctions. If they keep on buying from Russian companies, they will be severely punished by the governments and usually by the international community. So therefore, Russian companies have decreased production, and a lot of them just producing enough for the domestic market, which is not much. And the third reason is the technology. Turns out that Russian manufacturers, tons of large Russian manufacturers, they relied on foreign parts, semiconductor, processors, electronics, different parts. Car manufacturers such as Kamaz, Lada, they stopped productions for a very long time, for months, because they simply could not produce without foreign parts. And their main activity in the summer was trying to source out new ways of getting those parts, new logistic channels, so to speak. So now the numbers. So just listen to these numbers very carefully. And if you know a little bit about the economy, when you're going to hear them, you will understand the depth of the collapse that has already happened and is just around the corner, keep on coming. Phosphate minerals, minus 11%. And I'm talking about yearly numbers, year to year, 2022 to 2021. Phosphate minerals, minus 11%. Automobiles, minus 71%. Glass and glass products, minus 30%. Subway cars, minus 42%. Refrigerators and refrigeration equipment, minus 40%. Construction, minus 8%. Steel manufacturing, steel production, minus 5.5%. My industry, energy, I don't have the exact numbers, but most of our projects in Russia have been either canceled or frozen. A construction of an power plant, thermal power plant, is a huge process. It involves hundreds of companies and tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands of jobs, And if you freeze one project, that's, a considerable loss. But if you freeze 100 projects like that, that's industry imploding. So my industry has been imploding, and it's not in a very good shape whatsoever. So, everything in Russia, production of everything pretty much, has been shrinking. Even production of food has been shrinking. Dairy products, milk, sour milk, and so forth, has shrunk by 8%. What does it tell you? Gosh. Now, done with production. Let's move on to consumption. Consumption of everything in Russia is in decline. Just very few numbers, but also there are like showcases of what is happening. I'll start with one of the most important number, retail. Shopping malls, stores, large stores, moms and pop stores, they report 40% drop in sales in 2022 compared to 2021. 40%. What is going to happen is they're going to get through Christmas and New Year time, and there will be a huge wave of bankruptcies right after New Year in the beginning of 2023. I think you understand what I mean. Stores, the retail cannot survive with the rate of sales and such a huge drop in sales. There is problem for telecom. The telecom companies have just reported that the decrease in mobile internet traffic has been 2.5%, and mobile services, telephone calls, 2%. That's huge. Now, electricity. Consumption of electricity has declined by 4%. It should not decline. In a stable economy, electricity produced should be a constant, because it just doesn't vary, it doesn't go up and down. It is a constant. Well, it's not a constant any longer in Russia. The consumption has fallen by 4%. In the electricity world, that is huge. Why? Well, pretty simple, because the production has shrunk, okay, by a huge number. And then electricity, oh, to produce something, you need at least one thing. That is basic thing, electricity. Without electricity, you will not produce. So you produce less, therefore you use less electricity. That's a very good indicator. Consumption of good has fallen up to, well, 10%. That's not confirmed. I've seen different numbers, but I am thinking that 10% is the right number. Consumption of food, my friends. It means that the people have started saving on food, skipping on food, spending less on more expensive items and switching to less expensive items, I need not go any further in consumption. These are very basic numbers, and they speak volumes. In late December or early January, I will do a stream with extended list of industries and the effect at the end of the year. Okay, I will try and include all the industries. But what I've just said, gives you a very, very good understanding of what has happened with Russian consumption. And now moving on to the third group is investments, capital formation. Well, that's even worse than the previous two groups, because the investments is a global business, and economy cannot be isolated in terms of investments, because the world of finances is very, very liquid. It flows in and out easily. Money have no borders, and some countries attract money by introducing better regulation for investors, and some countries governments protect the domestic economy, in some cases by making stricter regulations. But you cannot isolate the country and keep this group of the economy afloat, so to speak. In Russia, the opposite has happened. Russia has been isolated. Russian central bank has quite a lot of reserves, including reserves in foreign currency, and it placed a part of its reserves abroad, and some of its reserves were placed in Russia. So the reserves abroad were frozen, have over $330 billion. Therefore, Russian government, Russian central bank does not have access to it, and it cannot use the money to regulate the economy, to help the economy, financially. That's a huge blow. And foreign investments, all of them, have left Russia. There is no capital going inside Russia to help the economy, to grow the economy, to increase production, to increase consumption. They all have left. Russia has become pariah. Russian companies, you see, all investments, all capital formation can be divided into domestic and foreign. The foreign does not exist in Russia any longer. Foreign's been cut off. Domestic does exist, but no one is investing any longer, because all company, not most, but all, are trying to basically, body freezes, the brain makes a decision what body part goes first, and usually it's the farthest from the brain. Like your toes freeze first, then your ankles, your legs, your hands, your fingers, and so that's how brain tries to conserve energy and stay alive. Same thing goes for the companies. They have cut off all the investments, all the expansion plans, all the spendings. Everyone is hurting right now, and everyone is trying to pinch every single penny to stay alive for as long as possible, hoping that economic situation is going to change in Russia and the tide will turn. Okay. And let me tell you, there have been so many victims already. The companies have closed. I'm waiting for the statistics from Rostov, Russian statistics agency, to see how many companies we have lost in 2022. How many small, large companies. But look, in my industry, I can tell you, tons of victims. Tons. Both small and large. Hey, to stay in business, you gotta have projects, ongoing projects, and they're huge because your payroll is huge. You employ so many engineers, so many people who do the erection of equipment, who do, very sophisticated engineering design works, and you cannot simply afford for them to idle. Okay. You're going to either fire them or you're going to close your company. And that's what has happened in many, many cases. Now, the investment group is not looking good at all. Okay. And now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a overall understanding of what is happening in the Russian economy. You see, usually one of the three groups takes a blow. It's either production, consumption, or investment. And if it's a blow is big, then the whole system is out of balance. And lots of entities, companies, large corporations, governments, the governments try to regulate, and they put lots of efforts into fixing the problem where the blow was. And the balance needs to be restored. The thing with the Russian economy, I don't understand as an economist how the balance can be restored, because all parts of the economy has had blows. Okay, production, consumption, investments. Russian economy is going to fall so low. I think we haven't seen the magnitude of such a tragedy, economic tragedy, in recent times. We are seeing it right now, and a lot of factors besides this political factor. Okay, obviously, this conflict with Ukraine has escalated to the point where Russian government has threatened to use nukes many times. So we're in Caribbean crisis 2.0, and this is not good. But there are so many other things. For example, the thing number one that is influencing Russian economy is exodus of Russian men running away from mobilization. The brain drain, not just smart people running away from Russia, scientists, educators, doctors, you name it, IT specialists, so many IT guys, but just anyone, all males, plumbers, electricians, laborers, anyone is fleeing Russia. According to Forbes, 700,000 Russian men have fled Russia since September 21st. That is such a huge blow to the production group of the economy, loss of lives of those mobilized and regular soldiers. That's Russian men. The Russian economy is, foundation, so to speak. this credit ratings of Russia are like on the bottom, right there in dirt. There is no trust in Russia in foreign investors. All these things, they're creating not even a perfect storm, but a meteorite hit, direct meteorite hit into the Russian economy, a huge one, okay? So there is not a question in my mind that this, how to call this? I used to call it economic tsunami, but no. Collapse, probably even collapse is not the right word, but let's call it for the simplicity's sake collapse. I don't understand how big of a collapse will be and how low Russian economy will fall. But the collapse is already happening in front of our own eyes. Next time you see Russia TV people telling you that everything is fine in Russian economy, and Russian bloggers walking around saying, hey, look, this shop is open, restaurant is open, everything's fine. You ask them what they're smoking. This has been my message about Russian economy and its current state of affairs. Thank you so much for giving me a chance. Thank you for listening. I would like to hear your opinion. What do you think? I'm going to turn on the comments. Please keep this chat civil and clean. Thank you. Wow, that was a hard topic. That was a hard message to tell you, let me tell you. I need some more tea. I bought new tea. Twinings. It's good. Very good. I like it. Very, very classic taste, English breakfast. Ooh. This economy stuff has made me sweat. Before I start, let me tell you something. I've noticed about myself. Doing stream every day gives lots of practice. Speaking in front of a camera, speaking live. All this has given me experience of taking complicated issues and breaking them down into different parts and making a complicated issue a simple one. Okay, so that's what I've tried to do today, and you let me know if I succeeded or not. Let me see who's number one today. Dale, Wild Wolfpack, Mickey Marketing, Reese's, Frank, Lars, Mr. Banana Drunk, Joy, Golden Griffin, Viking, John, Mike, Brother Rendell, John Knox. Blackhead, Lorna, Harry Potman, Bob, Mommy. I'm not seeing Mommy, but should be here lurking. There you go, Mommy. Amir. I'm not seeing, but Amir is probably around here somewhere too. Well, good evening, good day, everyone. Thank you for coming. So many usual suspects here. Thank you so. Whew. Tough message. My tongue's tired. You know what it feels like? I feel like I've just given a lecture at a university. 45 minutes too. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thank you so much. Hope you found it valuable and interesting somewhat. Moto Tom, greetings from Germany. Howdy. Hi, Konstantin, thank you. An interesting topic. Agnes, thank you so much from Czech Republic. I appreciate you as usual. Another casual observer. Howdy, howdy. Vladislav Inozemtsov says the Russian economy will die this winter. Well, winter is right around the corner. Like I said, economies don't die overnight, but it will start dying. And it might die. It's not going to die completely because, Russians not going to die of starvation. Okay, there'll still be certain level of economic activity, but I predict very low one. And we will see the effects like in full colors towards spring or even early summer. Okay, because it takes time. So thank you so much, another casual observer. Richard, welcome to Deep Inside Russia. That's the second tier. I appreciate, my friend. Thank you. Yodi Racer, great to see you as usual. There's a question, what is your prediction now on when everyday Russians will see the economy collapse? And it's seen right now. There's nothing to predict. Seen right now. I think stores will be closing. Many stores will be closing right after New Year. Things will more or less be okay until New Year. Okay, because reserves are still there. Mobilization, Russian men have fled. That's a huge blow. But still, somehow, when the plane is shot, it doesn't fall down directly to the ground immediately. Okay, it has speed and it goes down, 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 boom. That's the economy, same kind of idea. So we are seeing that it's been hit and it's going down, it's collapsing. But the collapse will be seen in full colors a little bit later. John Wakamatsu, hello from Los Angeles. Howdy, howdy from Uzbekistan. Thank you, John. Emporium, thank you. Thank you for all you do. I always feel a bit smarter after watching. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Thank you so much. Greeting from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Damien De Silva, good morning, my friend. Mir is also fallen and many countries refuse to adopt it. I'm going to make a separate video or a stream on Mir and Russian banking. So keep on tuning in. How will Russian citizens access cash abroad? We don't anymore. I'm you're talking to a Russian citizen who has lots of problems with that because my Mir card used to work here in Uzbekistan in March, in April, and they stopped accepting Mir on 23rd of September, 4 days before I came here. Okay, so I'm not gonna tell you all the tricks how we get our money because some of them are questionable from the point of view of Russian government, but I will talk more about that. From Canada, stuffs to consider. Thank you so much. What about those analysis stating that sanctions are working? Well, you ask them what they're smoking. Russia got more gas and oil revenues than ever before. Well, yes and no. Yes, at the moment for a few months because the prices were so high. But then what's going to happen in December where Russia will not be selling any more gas and oil? The gas is not being sold right now because the pipelines have been blown. And oil will be forbidden to be bought by European companies. You come back and you talk to those analysts after December, what they say to you. Stop scamming, man. Industry in during the pandemic, yet the pro-Kremlin narrative is that if Germany's industry closes during some of the winter, there will be a total collapse. This is absurd. Thank you. This is not a question. This is a statement. I completely agree with you. Their narrative on so many things is completely absurd. Like, Europeans are going to freeze to death this winter. They will come on their knees begging Russia for gas. That's what they're saying. For real, to us, to the Russians. And then lots of Russians believe that narrative, gets me going. I'm sorry. So you're completely right. 777 Danny, thank you so much. Love to you from Uzbekistan from me. Thank you, appreciate it. David Sharp, howdy. Hope you're well. As Russia is one of the major food producers in the world, do you see queues for bread and other foods like in the Soviet Union as in the past looking ahead? No. What I'm pretty sure is not going to be affected is food production. Everything is going as usual because of, food is a very basic activity and lots of individual farmers, okay? And they're not affected as much. They do their thing, the thing that they've been doing for years, and January will continue doing that. So Russia has lots of farmland, lots of seeds, lots of, some fertilizers. But you know what? Even if fertilizers, if none, there will be still lots of food produced in Russia. So I don't see bread queues, I don't see food lines or anything like that. So it's excess of food. PJB Burke, thank you so much. Keep it up. I will keep it up. I promise. Thank you. Flash Beige, $20. You look refreshed after seeing your family. It's good to see. Since it is later in Tashkent than Moscow, have you considered streaming earlier so you're not up so late? Continued love and support from Austin, Texas. Thank you so much, my friend. This is something that we went through last time I was here in Tashkent. We tried to vary time, and it turns out that this is the best time for the viewers, both in Europe and in the United States. If it's moved a less convenient for many people. So therefore, I'm okay. I'm in this schedule. I get like an hour and a half of sleep during daytime or before the stream. Then I stream from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. and then I go to bed. So it's fine. I have been refreshed and rejuvenated after seeing my family. Yes, you're right. But a very terrible thing happened today. First death. A person I know died from you know what. A 6-year-old kid left. And it really has shaken me to the core, you know. So no matter how rejuvenated, no matter how fresh I am, I feel that there are more blows and huge blows coming. And this kind of blow, I've never had it in my life before. I probably understand a little bit of what a lot of Ukrainians have felt like in the recent months, but let me tell you, this thing just, I don't know what to do. I try not to think about it, but because it's scary. It's so painful and scary to think about it, but it's not an immediate family member. It's just a person I know, but it's in my life. It's a person I know, you know, it's real. It's there. So no matter how refreshed and rejuvenated I am, thing like this happens and it just knocks you right on the floor. And it keeps you like under 2,000 power weight, 2,000 pounds weight. So considering the circumstances, I'm actually holding up pretty well. John Wakamatsu, buy more tea. Thank you so much, John. This is Twinings English breakfast. Very, very classical, basic tea. And I like it very much. It's very strong, the way I like it. And I will buy some more. Okay. There's a super chat from Brian Woods. Professor K, you've definitely succeeded. Thank you so much. I'm not far from professor, you know. Vlad Vexler is professor. I'm not. Um, I mix it with like emotions and my emotions, how I feel, how I see things. If I was a professor, I'd be giving you pure dry facts. That's it. Oracle, thank you so much. Again, thanks for $2, but please show me the future. That's what I really want to see. So many questions. I won't be able to answer all of them, but I will. I'm still working on this question video. It's just taking so much time between all other projects. Luke, thank you so much. Do you think many Russians will return after war ends if there are no jobs for them? Do you think an unemployed population might finally cause mass protests? Thanks for in-depth message today. Now, there are two questions. Do I think that many Russians will return? Some will, some won't. I just spoke to one of the people today who told me absolutely positively he will not return. He's in Uzbekistan flying to India, then to Dubai, possibly to Israel after that, looking for a new place to settle, not returning to Russia. I'm meeting another person day after tomorrow, same thing, not returning to Russia. So many people will not return ever. By the time this ends, they will have settled in a different place. They will have families moved there, and no. An unemployed population might finally cause mass protests. Absolutely. 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 Russian government is in for a huge surprise because hungry Russians are not a good side and not a very safe side. Okay. Another casual observer, thank you so much again. I am sorry everyone doesn't have access to viable vaccine. Didn't get it. What's viable vaccine? Jason Carney, thank you so very much. No message, but $10 is message strong enough. And Sherhan, do you think it's making the situation even more dangerous if it's to expect a revolution in spring? That atomic warfare is even more an option? I don't know. This question I cannot answer. This is beyond my expertise. I can make wild guesses, but they are as good as yours. I am sorry. Thank you very much for your support. Well, what I can tell, returning to your question, I don't know. No. I think the situation is already very dangerous. Okay. Jason Carney has just given a gift of sponsorship to 10 people. Thank you very much from myself and from 10 lucky people. Thank you. Don Walters, sorry, missed a lot of message. Do you think Russia will nationalize industry to reinstitute planned economy, as bad as that would be? I think they will be trying to do that. They are trying to nationalize companies that have left Russia, the foreign companies. Anyway, it's a complicated issue, but they will try. They will push private enterprises to work for the military, for the army. They have already have these laws that if army wants you to do something at certain price to manufacture, you cannot refuse, otherwise prison. So I think that the government will continue exert more and more control over free enterprises that are left in Russia. Good question too. Rezos, thank you so much. $5. Thank you. You talk helps understand the depth. I have hope. I see the way things can recover. It's in all God's hands and those who do His will. I cannot argue with that, Rezes. You're right. We can only think, but God knows. And there have been so many times when we think one thing and absolutely another thing happens. I really do pray every day for good change. I do not lose hope and faith. That's the best I can do right now. And thank you very much for your support and your message. Caller ID, I like the name. Thank you. Why are Russians, especially rich people, tolerant to watching their wealth disappear? Very deep question. Spot on. You know the saying, easy come, easy go? That is I think that's the case of a lots of mega rich Russians. They actually did not make the money with their blood and sweat. They stole the money or they acquired it through government connections, through, ways of easy and not so legal. Okay? That's why when they see it disappear, they are not so unhappy because they're not so attached to it, Easy come, easy go. That's a good question. LTU soldier, thank you. Since we are on the topic of economy, what about Russian sales of oil and gas to China, India, bunch of African and some Southeast Asian countries? Putin will have no problem generating revenue there. Disagree strongly. I've addressed that issue many times before. You have to divide the past, the present, and the future. What you're saying is right to the past. Russia and China relationship has been soured. China has turned its back onto Russia. And it is buying Russian oil, but at huge discount. And the chances are it will stop or it will decrease the volume of oil bought. India has been doing the same thing. The discount is up to 50%. And Russia can sell oil to India and China, but it cannot sell natural gas because there are no pipelines. That's not that easy. Bunch of African, some Southeast Asian countries. I've never heard of African countries selling oil, perhaps in very minuscule quantities. And Southeast Asians, same thing, not much, and price that they buy Russian oil is very, very low. So forget about those revenues that Russia had enjoyed for the past 20 years. Forget about that. It does not exist any longer. Russian budget is going to take a huge blow. One of my following streams will be about Russian budget for 2023. They just came up with a budget data, and it's not looking good whatsoever. You're going to be very surprised when you see that. Thanks for the message. Strongly disagree with that. Another casual observer, please pray for the children today. General prayer. I will. I want to do that. Because today has been such a blow. I can't tell you all the personal details, but trust me, it's so tragical. Klaus Tour, thank you. Inside Russia, Europe's gas stocks are full, and now the price of gas is falling, but still it's incipient. But we will stand up. Klaus, I understand, and if your message is aimed at me, then you have not informed me of anything. I just read the news today that European countries were so afraid of lack of natural gas, they pumped their reserves to the fullest, and now that combined with very warm weather in Europe, is resulting natural gas prices fall. Okay, but the thing is, that's I know, you know, and I also know that you will stand up even if you have to pay so much more, because I understand your position and you stand. But Russian media, Russian narrative says otherwise. Okay, there were news a couple days ago that Russian houses, like cultural centers, opened in Europe, all over Europe, opened the doors to let Europeans who are being frozen right now to actually come inside and warm themselves up free of charge. Official news. Yes, yes, I think yes, they are crazy. Because it's like plus 18 Celsius in Europe, and they're saying that Europeans are freezing. So, thank you. Understood. I understand that. Brianna, howdy, howdy. Good to see you. President Xi's speech spells doom for Russia and China, needing the world as the world needing China. Hey, I made the stream about that yesterday. Russia, China, and where Russia's standing in geopolitics right now. Go and watch that stream, and especially towards the end when I was talking about the Russian-Chinese relationship. You know, you're spot on. Thank you, Brianna. Frank in Texas has gifted 5 people memberships, sponsorships. Thank you so much. In Black Cat, as usual, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Give me just a couple minutes to answer a few questions besides super chats, and I will wrap it up. Another casual observer. You have Fox News there too. Yikes. Fox News, you kidding me? Fox News, we're the masters of Fox News or whatever. Like Fox News are kindergarten compared to Russian news. And CNN too, and all those large media in America. Karen from Maine, howdy. Gosh, this is a super chat. Not even to me. That's to another casual observer. Saint Michael carries the souls of innocent child victims into heaven himself. We'll all pray for the children today. Thank you so much. Thank you. An event comes and knocks you right out. And just right off to the ground. And just when you think you're like got up on your feet again and you're feeling better and stuff like that, something always comes up and boom, you just sit there and go, what the fudge, Rudy Kaisley, nothing more exciting for the viewer than talking economics for an hour, but it was necessary. I'm sorry. I know it's not the most fun thing in the world. Perhaps the least fun in the world. I actually like economics. I went to school for economics. That kind of gives inner workings of the society. Because we are based on economics. Economics, the way we interact with one another in economic way, defines societies. Okay. And everything else is derived from the economics. So I like it, believe it or not. I did it for fun. I studied economics of Roman Empire. That was fun. Tom Kindness, a country will end up in the pre-industrial age due to the lack of computer chips. The mentality of the vast majority of population also belongs there. Not a question, it's a statement, and it's very hard to disagree with you. Thank you so much for your support, Tom. I appreciate it. Another casual observer towards Karen, and I second that. Amen. Katharina Holm. Question. Didn't experts warn Kremlin? Couldn't anybody stop this madness? Bring Russia out of this terrible situation. Many nations are promising to help rebuild Ukraine. What about Russia? Well, first of all, it's not one question, but many, and everyone warned. Sober voices inside Russia warned many, many times. They're still warning. But the thing is, the one who needs to be listening, he's not listening. He doesn't care. He has his own agenda. He has his own goals, and he doesn't care about the economy. Okay, he cares about other things. Plain and simple. Even if his people from his inner circle have been telling him to pay attention to the economy, and then if he does that, then the effect will be tragic and so forth. But he doesn't care. Double Dog Dare 54. How will the price caps on oil and gas affect Russia? In a huge way. Russia will not be making as much money. No one is going to be buying Russia. Well, Russia will be selling oil and gas at a huge discount. That's basically it. Lars Henrik, Norway still buys many Russian products. Well, not for long. Another super chat from White Lightning 777. Should the USA use the Defense Production Act to double the triple amount of oil and gas it produces? This would make oil profits impossible for Iran and Russia, ending the war. Well, if I was an American politician in charge of regulating, I would regulate the increase of oil and gas, American oil and gas, to actually strengthen the economy, because the revenues will, once the United States wins a market, once any country wins a market for oil and gas, this is not, a fight between Pepsi and Coke. Today it's Pepsi, but it can be replaced with Coke so easily. That's infrastructure, very complicated and long-term contracts. So when the United States wins as a market, it does not let go. Same thing. Russia has won European markets for generations, and it did not let the United States inside. Okay, it regulated prices and everything. So, if the United States can get into the markets, I would do that. I would eat dirt, so to speak. To get, if I was American, in charge of regulating and in charge of helping the oil and gas industries in the United States. David McConaughey, hope your family well. Stay safe and keep up the great content. It's very informative. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I appreciate support and great good words and wishes. Team Vanderloo, next year you will have lots of work in your sector, building new TPPs in Western neighboring country. There are so many things I cannot tell you. I wish you knew. I wish I could tell you, but one day will come. Now I'll be free to speak everything. You'll be surprised. Brian, remove the head of the snake. Rezus, believe it's just like believe the Samo would be short with no draft. Believe what? I didn't get the question, I'm sorry. Miss Randy, I think it would have been interesting if you had discussed this within the context of how will affect and how, well, didn't understand the question, like how, within the context of how will it work. I gotta look, but come back and look at your question again. How are you? Well, Robert, I'm fairly well, as good as I can be. And how are you able to keep your money flow going? I'm still getting paid through the end of this month. That's how I keep my money flow going. YouTube, I have not been paid from YouTube due to some circumstances this month. But it's nothing to worry about. I'll figure a way next month. So YouTube, money will keep on flowing as well. Um, so that's how I'm keeping my money flow going. And we'll see what happens next month. Ryan Williams, will the economy be completely nationalized and 100% mobilized? Yes, it will be. Well, of course, if Russia keeps on escalating, it will be. If Russia stops escalating, that things will start going back to normal. Well, the new normal, not the old normal. What is the new normal? I don't know. Old English sheepdog fun. You are very good at explaining these things. Thank you so very much. I appreciate the good words. Crazy, such a tragedy in every regard for everybody. For ego, one person. Great English breakfast tea. Agreed and agreed. Last week I was served Earl Grey by mistake. I'm still getting over the shock. Let me tell you, English breakfast rates much higher in my books than Earl Grey. Maya will economic collapse and probably. I'm not qualified on making predictions like that. Ferrari guy, Peter Zanen has noted that third world famine is likely to result due to Russia not exporting fertilizer, gas, and wheat in volumes previously exported. Time will tell. I don't know what the effect will be. So far, harvest in Russia has been really good this year. I'm not sure about Ukraine. Parts of obviously where Ukraine is, parts of Ukraine have been completely wasted in terms of farming this year. But some parts of Ukraine are still farmed, and that their harvest is still fairly well. Europe also grows lots of things. So I'm not sure there will be famine, but time will tell. I hope not. Copley Hall, since 2 days ago, Italy didn't buy gas from Russia for the very first time in 50 years. This is the beginning. That's what I'm saying, my friends. Russia has another huge blow waiting. Comes December, not one single European country will be able to buy Russian gas and oil. That's it. Done and done. They cannot start printing rubles because the inflation will shoot up. They will have more problems. I don't know what they're going to do. Tim, for me, it would be better if you were streaming a little bit earlier. Well, to me too. I'd love to stream at midnight, but we'll see. That's a very complicated issue with the time of streaming. It's like the economy. You don't change it overnight. Daniel, won't the special mobilization grab farmers? Well, it does grab farmers. It grabbed many people from villages. Does Russia have the automation to make up the slack? You kidding me? No, it doesn't. But we'll see. The thing is, mobilization was announced after a harvest was over in Russia. Okay, most harvest is like all wheat is harvested by August. Okay, in July. Sunflower in September. So that's potato in September. Almost everything is done. Thank you so much for good words. Okie dokie. Last question here. If I could rename Um, Johnny Bronichow. India won't buy any oil. Yeah, I know. China won't buy oil soon. TPP is thermal power plant. Thermal power plant is an electric station that is produces electricity and heat. John BBB, good to hear you mention Vlad Vexler. Would love to see you make some reaction videos to him and others. I will not do a reaction video to Vlad Vexler. He's a professor. I mean, his videos are excellent. I'm not. What kind of reaction video you expect me to do? Saying, oh, he's wrong and stuff like that. No. I've seen a few videos of his and I have. It's like he reads my mind. Okay. My friends, it's already 22 minutes. Let's finish this up. Let me go to prayer. I invite everyone to pray with me. It's needed, not just by me and you, but I think it's by a lot other people. We just don't see it, don't understand. Please, let's do it. Adam, I don't have an opinion on the UK situation. I'm not. I'm preoccupied with Russia and Ukraine. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us. Thank you for even sometimes we don't understand why some terrible things happen, but we have faith in you, and we know that you see the bigger picture, and you know how things are, and whatever is done to the good. So thank you very much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting food on our tables. Thank you for giving roofs over our heads and surrounding us with people we love and who love us. Thank you for that. Please keep our children healthy and safe and give us wisdom to raise them in a way that when they become adults, they will make this world a better place. And they will never fight with each other and they will never kill each other. We really, really need to raise our children that way. Please help everyone who's been affected in Ukraine. Give them strength. Give them ability to get through these hard times. Send them recovery, physical and mental. And just send them, soothe their souls, please. I don't know what to ask you to give those poor people who have been affected. You know better than I do, so please do your magic, do your miracles. I personally don't know what to ask beyond what I'm asking. Please send angel to every single person and every single child in Ukraine and have angel watch over people, angels watch over people, and keep everyone out of harm's way. People who are capable of making decision to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine, and talk to them, reach out, touch them, touch their hearts, touch their heads, touch them in general. So do the things that you know are necessary so they make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Um, I would like to ask you to help people, not just Ukrainians, but everyone who has been affected. Um, Russians are affected too, and a lot of them are affected against their will, and Russian families and Ukrainian families. So we're asking for everyone. Uh, Give people ability and strength to get through and get on with their lives. So many people that are in such pain right now, heartache, crying, screaming because they have lost their loved ones, friends, close people they know. Help them. I don't know how. I don't know how to ask to what to ask for, but I know that you can help them in a way that only you know. So please help every single one of them. Please help children whose parents died or were killed. Um, I don't know what to ask you for to do for them because I just simply cannot understand the magnitude of pain and despair and this disaster that is happening inside of them. Um, but I know that you're merciful. I know that you're full of love, and I know that you help. So please do something that really will help those children and will help to get on with their lives, long lives, you know. Please help spouses, parents of people fallen, relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins. Again, I don't know what to exactly to ask you for, to do for them, but you know how to help. I am merely asking for help. I know that so many people praying with me right now, and they're all asking the same thing. Please help those who have lost loved ones. Please send common sense to people who are responsible for this madness. Send, like, show them love. Please create, like, make your miracle. So this stops and people stop dying and mothers will stop crying and children will stop screaming and um, we will all get break and no more lives are lost. Please do that. I am asking and begging you to do that. I have a list of people who've reached out and asked. It's right here. Um, there are so many people who need your help. Please. You know them better than I do. You know their needs better than I do. Help every single person on this list. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. Um, please make this madness, make this bloodshed, make this tragedy stop as soon as possible. That's the biggest desire that I have currently, and I think that many people do also. Thank you so much, dear God, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. tomorrow, it's not going to be a message, but sort of a discussion. I'm going to be telling you how things are with trust in Russia, what and who Russians trust and believe. And I'll be asking questions. So please come back for tomorrow's message as well. And before I sign off, in my usual, Carthago delenda est. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.